Good morning. Welcome to my channel. I am Mimi. I'm also known in some circles by my birth name, Lori, and this is Mimi on the Move. After my latest video was released and my song about the big black gates, I've had a few inquiries as to what could have inspired me to write such a song. And it really is a cartoon song because it's funny to me now, in a way, now that I'm looking at it through different eyes from a different place. But the 9 years that I was in a certain location, living there, some of my experiences were pretty dark. And some of them were brilliant. Most of them were good, all right? But what I did is I put a little booklet together of the reasons why I left that community. Excuse me. I did tell you in a previous video that I would be sharing that with you. I didn't think it would be quite yet, but in light of the few questions that have come my way, I think today's the day. So this might be a long video. I might put it in a couple of different parts because it is a bit of a story. And I wrote it down. I wrote down my story so that I don't waste time going, this, that, what year, what month, all of that sort of thing. So I wanted to make sure everything was in chronological order and as accurate as possible. My hair. I'm not here to put anybody down. That's never been my focus in life. I always try to build people up. And I try to be a good example of looking at the glass half full. And not everybody's like that. That's okay. I'm not asking people to be like me. That would be a boring world if everybody was the same. But I just know that that's who I am. So when people are glass half empty, or when people are always looking for the worst in somebody else, it's because they want to. It's not because that person is like awful or anything. It's the person that's doing the looking, is looking through their own eyes. And the story I'm about to tell you today, it really revolves around one woman. And she doesn't take up any real estate in my head anymore. But when I was living in that community, it was like a cancer in my life. Her energy. It was not good. And it affected me. It affected me to withdraw and isolate from the other people in the community. It made my time there not as pleasant as it could have been. The little booklet I wrote, I called it Shattered Dreams because it was my dream retirement place, at least for almost the first year. Then things changed. But anyways, I'm going to go through that with you today. Sorry, the light changes, but my iPad that I've written my notes on, it times out, so then it goes dark. Then I have to touch it again. You know, if you have an iPad, you know. Anyways, like I said, I'm not going to use any real names here because my intention is not to put somebody forefront and center and shame them. That's not my point. The point of my story is so that you understand where I'm at, how I got here, and why I left there. The main reasons why I left there. Anything can be endured if your source of energy is good around you. It's hard to endure things when the energy is dark around you and when it infiltrates to other people. So I'm going to try to do this as concise as possible without too much blabber, you know. So I'm going to go back to 2017 when I first arrived at this community. I had hopes of healing from a terrible loss in my life and refinding some joy. That was quite a while ago now. That was 2017. It does seem like a lifetime ago, though. So after I sold my home on the mainland, I found a little home in this community to buy. I hired a contractor to renovate it. First time in my life I've actually ever done that on my own. So that was thrilling. I got it to be just the perfect little dream house that I had always wanted. And I moved in several months after the renovation started. It took a few months for the renovation to be completed. And then I learned that there were group fitness classes at this community clubhouse. And I realized very quickly, how perfect is that? I've been teaching fitness for, at that time, nearly 50 years. And I had retired. So I thought, I get to go and be a participant now. This is going to be fantastic. So that was great. But what happened was the instructor giving the classes was 78 years old. And after I'd been there several times and she had asked me a few questions and learned a little bit about my background, I had a lot of certifications in health, wellness, and fitness. She said she was getting ready to retire, and if she did, would I like to take that class over for her, from her? And I actually thought I was retired and I wasn't going to be teaching anymore. But anyways, I finally said, well, okay, I will do it. I will do it. Because I was continuing to go to her classes, right? This is my second coffee today. I don't usually have a second one at home. So this is unusual for me to have this coffee. But I think I need it today. Excuse me. Anyways, so I did begin teaching classes there. And I realized that after class, they visit and have coffee and get to know each other and share little stories. And it was the most delightful group of women. Well, from then to today, they are still the most delightful group of women and the sweetest ladies that live in that community, as far as I'm concerned, at least from the ones I've met. They're my favorite people of all. Anyways, they also had, I digress sometimes, they also had line dancing classes being held at the clubhouse. I'd never done that before. So one of the ladies said, why don't you come and try it out? And I thought, yes, because I love to dance. I used to own 3 dance and fitness studios. Although I never taught dance, I hired lots of great dance instructors and I took classes from them. And it was for children, teenagers, adults. Like, it was a full family studio, what I owned before. So yeah, but little did I know, once I started these line dancing classes, that it would be a dark cloud forming over me. Now, the head instructor at that time was lovely, soft-spoken, taught us dances, was patient. She was encouraging. She was a very, very nice lady. I never knew her personally, and to this day I do not know her personally. But I'm not going to use her name. Anyways, and then she also had helpers. Right? Helper number 1 is who my story revolves around. So we're just going to call her H1. Helper 1. Okay. So I continued these classes and I really enjoyed them. Now, one dreadful evening, and I was not there, our head instructor was rushed to the hospital, and it turned out that she had a serious medical condition and she would not be teaching classes for some time, is what we were told. Now, H1, that's the helper, made it very clear by way of an evening newsletter to the community as a whole that these classes would not be continuing while our head instructor was in the hospital and recovering, because she did not want to teach those classes while the head instructor was away. That was what she said. And I thought, oh, isn't that interesting? Because you see, I came from the city where I actually had 125 instructors under my wing. I was responsible for them. We had a philosophy that if one of us was down for whatever reason, illness, injury, a new job perhaps, anything at all, pregnancy, anything at all, that we would band together and cover that person's classes for them until such time as they returned. And that way, 2 things were positive. one thing was that the participants didn't lose their classes. The second thing was that we reserved that class for that instructor to come back to the moment she was ready, or he, and everybody was happy. Everybody's needs were fulfilled. Right? So I thought, well, because that was my standard protocol, that's all I knew, was to help when somebody couldn't be there. The helper, in this case, was not interested in continuing these classes while our head instructor was off. And I thought, well, I've never taught line dance classes before, but I've taken a few. I've taught thousands of group fitness classes. So the instruction, the leadership part of instructing was second nature for me. That wasn't an issue. My issue to help out was that I only knew a few dances that the head instructor was able to teach, well, the short time that I had been there. So but you know what? I thought, what the heck? The ladies there are so nice. Why don't I offer to just cover these classes? They were free at that time. The line dancing classes had no charge to them. So it's not like I felt like I wasn't earning the money, you know, because I knew I had a lot of experience group instructing. But, excuse me, just a moment. Okay, there we go. I'm sorry. Anyways, so what I did is I wrote a letter. The Insider was the newsletter that would go out to approximately 300 minus a few homes every night at the dinner hour. And it was to do with news, like I have this for sale, or I'm looking for that, or this is an event that's happening, or whatever. It just a community newsletter, just for the community. It went in the form of an email. And I thought, well, I should get in touch with the Insider and let them know that because the helper, H1, was not going to be continuing teaching the line dance classes, that maybe I could help out. Because I know the people there enjoyed the dancing, and as well as I did very much. I was really enjoying it. And I thought that would be a nice way for me to show my support to the head instructor until she returned. It was a commitment I was willing to make for the sake of the participants in the class. Now, I had no way of knowing in advance, because I didn't know these people, I had no way of knowing what would happen to me from my gesture of support that I was offering up. All I'd known and experienced in the past was that people were appreciative if you helped them out. That was not the case. That turned out not to be the case in this case. So even though I was not a line dancer instructor, I had learned enough from our head instructor to bumble through teaching these classes. And my many decades of group fitness instructing came in quite handy at this point. So I'm going to read you. I save things because I was in management for 35 years. So I save things that I create and send to people, because saving them is better than trying to remember them. And I'm really glad now that I did save things, because when people ask me some serious questions about that time, I don't have to tell them. I can give them these things and say, well, here's what happened. This is what happened. It's not gossip. This is what happened. So I wrote a letter to the residents of the community of my intention to help out our head instructor while she was away, because the helper had already put in the Insider that she was not interested in teaching those classes while the head instructor was away. There's just people walking by. I've got my windows open. Anyways, I'm going to read you that exact letter.
You're
1 second, they're talking to my cat. So they were petting Mr. through the window. Like, they don't know that he's like been known to, like, well, you can't see that anymore, but if you saw my other videos, you would have known there's 4 teeth marks there. He's been known to bite. It's like, don't come near this cat. He's like a dog protecting his house. Anyways, he seemed to like that lady. Okay, where was I? All right. So I was going to well, read you the letter. But the one thing before I read the letter, what I want to tell you is that when our head instructor would email us, for whatever reason, not socially, but it was always to do with the line dance class. Maybe it was being canceled or whatever for a night, whatever. At the bottom of her emails, her signature always said, in quotes, "Do one good deed today." And I felt kind of pleased with myself because I felt I was, for her, doing one good deed today. I was so naive to what was going to come down the tube. All right. So here's the letter exactly as I wrote it. The only thing I will change or omit is a name, because like I said, I am not here presenting this to put anybody down or to shame anybody. This is all about how I got to where I am today from that experience. The letter. When someone we know and care about is temporarily unable to be with us, we often wonder how we can help during their absence. This is what I've been thinking about since our line dance head instructor has been in the hospital. I, like many of you, pray for her recovery every night, and I continue to ask myself, what can I do to help out? Now, if you've ever received an email from our head instructor, the signature at the bottom of her email says, "Do one good deed today." In honor of the time and energy our head instructor has spent teaching us dance after dance, I am offering up my time on Tuesday nights to fill in for her until she returns. My understanding is that the Sunday evening line dance classes are canceled until further notice. Now, I'm going to interrupt the letter for a minute. The helper canceled both classes, Tuesday and Sunday. I was just offering up my time for the Tuesday. Okay, back to the letter. So I will be here on Tuesdays for anyone who wishes to continue dancing. This is the best way for me to help out during this time. Beginners who want to keep learning the dances are encouraged to partake in the upcoming Tuesday nights. I'm going to interrupt the letter again because I was also a beginner. So I thought, well, other beginners might enjoy it, right? If their instructor is a beginner. Anyways, back to the letter. Our head instructor has taught me the basics, and I'll carry on with her teachings as long as she is unable to be there. We can continue with the dances we've learned, and when she returns, she won't have to teach us from the beginning. She's already done that. Let's make her return as easy as possible and not forget our dances. If anyone would like to help me in helping out, please let me know. I would be more than grateful. For those of you who do not know me, I've lived here for 1 year, and I have been in the group instruction world for over 40 years. And I look forward to helping out a fellow instructor. As a group instructor myself, I would hope that if something happened where I could not teach for a while, I would hope that someone would step up and cover for me. This is me doing one good deed today, and I hope that you will join me in keeping line dancing alive and well during this difficult time for our head instructor and her family and friends. Always in good health, Lori. End of letter. I'll use my name because obviously it's my story, right? So anyways, that's the exact letter that went to nearly 300 homes. So what happened after that letter? I told them that the classes would be canceled. I stepped up to offer my help for one of them. I was also asking for anybody to help me help out. I told the reasons why I was helping. It was pretty clear, I think, in the letter. My intentions were pretty honorable, I think. I would like somebody to do that for me if I was off. So I'm going to give you now what I'm going to call incidents, because there's 11. I won't get through them all today. This will be an ongoing little thing for a little while, I think. Anyways, incident number 1. Now, I should mention at this time that I never socialized with any of the ladies in this line dance class because I hadn't lived there long enough. I was busy teaching the other classes and doing my settling down into the community and so on and so forth. So I never got to know any of the ladies in the line dance class. So it was a surprise to me the night that I wrote the letter at 9:30 p.m. That's late for me. That same evening, I received a phone call from a lady who participated in the line dance class. She asked if she could come over to see me because there was something urgent she needed to discuss with me. I thought that was kind of odd because it's not like I didn't know this lady. I knew her, who she looked like, and her name from the line dance class. That's all I knew. Anyways, I said, well, I'm in my house coat, but as long as you don't mind, I don't mind. Come on over. So she did, 9:30 at night. She proceeded to tell me that the helper, H1, was enraged by the letter I had put in the community newsletter that evening. In fact, her exact words were, and I'm going to say it exactly how it was said to me. She was referring to me when she said this to this other, when H1, the helper, said this to the lady who came to my house. This is exactly what she said. Who the fuck does she think she is? Well, you could have knocked me over with a feather when I heard this. I thought I had made my intent clear, that I was simply trying to lend a helping hand. I suggested to this lady that I should speak with helper, H1, to explain that she had no reason to be enraged with my letter, or me. But the lady said, that's a bad idea, considering the state that helper, H1, was in after reading the letter. So I let it go on her advice, and I hoped it would just work itself out. It never did. In fact, to this date, 2025, that was 2017, to this date, helper H1 has continued to covertly shame and berate me to people in the community. But not just to her friends in the community. No, that wasn't enough for her. But she also would reach out to new people that moved into the community, women that might come to my class initially. And she would berate me to them. And the only reason I know that is because there was a couple of them that actually came to me and told me. So this is not gossip. So there has been a consistent pattern of this for all these years. And the interesting thing about it, one of the many interesting things about this is that every single person who has slagged me and my name after being with the helper, H1, they've never had a conversation with me. They didn't know me. Some of them may not even have known who I was, but they knew my name and they knew some kind of awful story that went about that to this date I still don't know the exact story. It's never been made clear. And there was at one point where the management met with this person and said, what is it that bothers you so much and what makes you hate this Lori so much? And her response was, blank. There was no response. Probably because she doesn't know. Anyways, I've never given her a reason, ever. Anything that she's done with regarding to me, she's made up in her head and made it her reality. That part I know for sure. Anyways, for whatever reason, all these people that she found she could influence, they didn't know me. And they chose to believe whatever she was telling them. That somewhere, somehow, I did something wrong to her. That is to H1 the helper. And I must pay for it. It did become like a cancer in my life while living in that community. Many people would say these things to me. They'd go, oh, don't worry about her. She's just jealous of you. And things like that. They were saying that to make me feel better for the things that were going on behind my back, right? But there was nothing to be jealous about. So I had a hard time believing that. I had to think it was something else. There was nothing about me she could be jealous about. I was no better than her. I was like nothing. There's nothing. There was nothing to be jealous about. That's what I'm trying to say. But people just kept saying that over the next 8 years. They kept saying, oh, no, she's just jealous of you. They believed that. So that explanation did not help me understand why H1 the helper loathed me and loathes me the way she did and does. But eventually, as the years passed, I continued to take the high road and keep going in a positive and optimistic direction. Because that's my basic nature. That's what I was born with. That's who I am. It's what I do. I don't stay stuck in the mud because it's no fun being in the mud. Not for me. Anyways. All right. I found myself over the years many times of being the receiver of pretty nasty behavior in the community from people I did not know. And there's some major incidences of this, like I said, there's 11 of them. We won't get through them all today. But I'm not going to bring up the many minor annoyances that she threw my way because they are so petty. They're not worth bringing up. But do know that in between the major incidences, there were scores of minors. So it was a never-ending job for her. I think it was her mission. Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. Anyways, I need to be really clear that every person who threw anger and hate my way, people that were influenced by H1 the helper, they had never had a conversation with me. These were folks I did not know and who did not know me. An example is this. It was once told to me that one person said to this person who told me, okay? So again, not gossip. I won't go anywhere if Lori, and she said my last name as well, is going to be there. The woman had never met me, and she's never going to go anywhere I am. Okay, fine. But guess who her client was? Yep, H1 helper. There's cars coming and going. Okay. All right. That's it for today. That was incident number 1. There's 10 more. And all of these incidences stem from helper H1. And with that, I'll close and I'll pick this up again for the next video. I'm going to basically do one each day for you so it's not too long. And that way, the people that watch my videos, some of the people actually know me that watch my YouTube channel. Some don't know me, but some know me. And I know they've probably always wondered what my side of the story was, where there's so much hate thrown my way from certain people in the community. And this is going to give them some background because I'm sure they've heard other stories that I'm not aware of. And this is the first time in 9 years that I'm giving my story because I don't like drama, I don't like gossip, and I don't like shaming and blaming people for anything, even if they are worthy of being shamed and blamed. I still don't want to do it. It doesn't make me feel great. But it has come to a point now because this woman has done yet another thing yesterday and blamed me for something I didn't do, and she did it to the management. And the management called me in. I felt like I was in the principal's office in elementary school when they presented me with something that H1, the helper, went to them and said, I believe that Lori did this. So maybe she was expecting me to get the strap or get detention. But the bottom line is, I didn't do it. Somebody did it on my behalf. And there's only 4 people I shared something with. And one of those people, in their goodness of their heart, must have decided to stand up for me when I wasn't standing up for myself. So they did something, and she said that I did it. And I'll never divulge who these 4 people are, because I don't care if she thinks I did it. Because you know what? Even if she was presented all the proof of how I could not possibly have done it, she still wouldn't believe it. And just for now, I'm going to explain how I could not have done what she said. I'm not going to go into what it was. It's just gossip. It's just garbage. As you know, a couple of days last week, I spent time at the palliative care from my first love, my first husband, my son's father. Friday, I spent a great deal of time there. And Friday night, he passed away. Saturday, Mary visited me, uplifted my spirits. And after Mary left, I edited a video, and then I wept off and on all of Saturday and Saturday night. And Sunday wasn't a lot better. And that's when I went to dinner with Joanne and felt like I was going to get back to normal. So I was not in any frame of mind to do anything to anybody at all. And apparently this thing happened on the weekend. My focus was on my first love, my first husband, my son's father, who was dying and who did die. So I don't know what to say about that, except that, once again, H1 helper put blame on me for something I did not do. And with that, I'll close. I promise I'll close this time, and I'll wish you lots of love. I hope you receive love. I hope you give love. And until my next one, which will be incident number 2, I wish you well. Thank you for stopping by Mimi on the Move today. And if you don't like this story, don't worry about it. Don't come back. It's okay. I don't blame you at all. I might not come back if it wasn't me involved in it. Anyways, see ya. Bye-bye.